Hello everyone, this is Form 4 Additional Maths, Chapter 3 Quadratic Functions. And in this part, we will learn how to solve quadratic inequalities. So quadratic inequalities are inequalities which involves quadratic functions. Like for example, here we have an x squared. Okay, so the first thing we do is we rearrange this in a general form. So we have x squared minus 4x. So the minus 3, we move this side, you get plus 3 is less than 0. After that, we factorize this. So we factorize this, get x, this is 1, 3, and then you get this is a negative. After that, we need to sketch the graph. And here, since the coefficient of x squared is a positive number, this is a smiley face. For a quadratic function, if ax squared plus bx plus c, when the quadratic function is in this general form, we look at this value, then if it is a positive, it is a happy face. If the value a is a negative, it will be a sad face. This will be the shape of the graph. Okay, so come back to this. We draw a line here, and then this and this will be the value taken from the values here. So if x minus 1 equals to 0, x equals to 1, x minus 3 equals to 0, x equals to positive 3. So this value will be added here, 1 and 3. And now, since the graph here is less than 0, okay, this is actually the x-axis. Less than 0 means we need to look at the lower part of the x-axis. Okay? The upper part is more than 0. The lower part is less than 0. Okay, so the upper part here, this area, is more than 0. So the lower part here is less than 0. So since here is less than 0, we look at the lower part of this graph, the area bounded by the curve, meaning that the range of x along this curve is the value of x that satisfy the inequalities. So the value of x along this line will be x from here to here, means x is greater than 1 and less than 3. We arrange this in a general form. We have negative 6x squared plus 7x plus 5 is greater than 0. We can just factorize from here. We can straight away factorize and draw the graph, or to make it easy, we can make this becomes a positive value. So since here is negative, if we multiply negative for the whole inequalities, this one becomes 6x squared minus 7x minus 5, and we change direction of the inequality sign symbol, and you get this. After that, we factorize it. Then from here, 3x minus 5 equals to 0, x equals to positive 5 over 3, and 2x plus 1 equals 0, x equals to negative 1 over 2. Then we come back to this equation again. Since the value of a is positive, the graph is a happy face graph. Okay, and this is the x-axis. These two will be the values of negative 1 over 2 is here, 5 over 3 will be here, this value. Now we come back to this equation again. We see now the symbol here is less than 0. Again, if it is more than 0, we look at the upper part. If less than 0, we look at the lower part. So less than 0 is here, meaning that the value of x which satisfy the inequalities will be along this curve. The x will be along from here to here. So the answer will be x is greater than negative 1 over 2 and less than 5 over 3. Question 2. Given that fx equals to 4 plus 4x minus x squared, find the range of values of x that satisfy function of x is greater than negative 1 and less than 7. So we can break this into two parts. Into negative 1 is less than the function of x, and then we substitute this into this part. We get negative 1, 4 plus 4x minus x squared. Then we try to solve this Factorize this. It's x 5 1, and this is negative, this is positive, so x minus 5 equals 0, so x equals to 5 1. So since this is a positive value, the coefficient of x squared is a positive value, so this is a happy face, and we draw a line here which x exists. Then the 5 and the 1, negative 1 will be here, 5 will be here. And since again this is less than 0, this less than 0, we look at the lower part here, the lower part. So x will be from negative 1 to 5. So the answer here is x is less than negative 1. X is greater than negative 1 and less than 5. Now we look at the second one. The function of x is less than 7. So the function of x is less than 7. The coefficient of x squared is positive. This is a happy face, and we draw this. So 1 will be here, 3 will be here. And so if this is greater than 0, so greater than 0, we look at the upper part. So we are looking at this part and this part. So for this, it means x is, for this part is less than 1. For this, x is more than 3. So it's this part and this part. Now, we come back to this again. We have this and this. So we want to combine both of this. Okay, so I rewrite here on top of here, I get negative 1 x 5, comma, I have x less than 1, x is greater than 3. So how do I combine all of this? Well, if I draw the number lines, combining all the values, so I have a negative 1 here, I have 1 here, I have 3, I have 5. Okay, for the first inequalities, x is in between negative 1 and 5. So x is from negative 1 to 5. Okay, so this is here. And then x, for the second part, is x is less than 1, x is less than 1, x is greater than 3. So we take the common region here, which is this part and this part. Meaning that the x value in this common region and this common region are the x values that satisfy this equation, these inequalities, sorry. So for here, x is greater than negative 1, less than 1, comma. For this common region, x is greater than 3, less than 5. So these are the range of x that satisfy this inequality. Find the range of values of m if the quadratic equation x squared plus mx plus 16 equals to 2 times, in brackets, x plus m does not have real roots. So does not have real roots here give us the information that the discriminant is less than 0. So for this, if we can rearrange this in a general form and find this value, then we can fill in this and then solve it. Okay, so we try to rearrange this in general form. So now a equals to 1, b equals to m minus 2, c equals to 16 minus 2m. Given b squared minus 4ac equals less than 0, so b is m minus 2. So if you get a quadratic function and it's an inequality, this is a quadratic inequality, you know that you need to use the graph to help us to solve this question. So first we factorize this. So what we should write here is negative 10. Here is 6. Then since here is less than 0, so we're looking at this less than 0, this lower part here, this line. Means the m is in between negative 10 and 6. So m is greater than negative 10 and less than 6. So one more thing you need to be consider, if on a side note, if the equation is less than or equals to 0, if it is less than or equals, then your answer will be negative 10 less than or equals m, or this. So you have to be careful with this sign, and this sign. That's it. Thank you for watching.